No medium wave and BBC Scotland Extra on BBC Sounds for Viktoria Plzeň against Hearts. We also have commentary of FC Copenhagen against Kilmarnock in their Conference League playoff. That's online at bbc.co.uk/Sport Scotland. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. I can see the pictures now of the Kilmarnock players coming out of the tunnel. What a challenge faces them tonight. Catch that game online. But our main event this evening is this huge game for Hearts. It's your Europa League playoff away to Viktoria Plzeň. We'll hand you to your commentary team of Neil McCann, Michael Stewart and Alistair Lamond.
Thanks very much, Kenny. Yeah, tough task for Hearts in a massive tie as they look to secure Europa League football this season. Hearts winless in their 3 games so far at the start of the campaign, while their host Viktoria Plzeň have won all but one of their 7 games, including both legs against Krubas of Ukraine in the previous qualifying round. Both sides third in their respective leagues last season, but Viktoria Plzeň have a really strong home record and will be looking to establish a decent lead to take to Tynecastle in a week's time. The team's just about ready. They're out on the pitch, out in Plzeň in the Czech Republic, and will shortly be underway. The referee, incidentally, is German Sven Jablonski, who will take charge of this one as Hearts and the Czech hosts line up, with Lawrence Shankland taking centre stage in the TV pictures at the moment. Back to Captain Hearts this evening, and you'll be looking to get on the score sheet for the first time this campaign, and if you can do so, you will equal John Robertson's record in terms of the amount of goals scored for the club in European competition. We are underway, and it's Hearts immediately trying to move forward down the right-hand side, and they've won themselves a free kick in a decent position. It's Vargas who's gone down, and as a free kick goes the way of the visitors, Jemelka, the player penalised about 10 yards outside the penalty. It's quickly taken. Vargas flicks into the area, headed away at the far post. They'll come out and Hearts will pick up once more as George Grant goes.
That was strange, Al. They took it quickly, but there was nobody in the box. I mean, it was at Vargas that was sprinting down the outside, but he had nobody to hit. Everybody was behind the ball.
It's Vargas again who's dispossessed inside the area, but bright enough start for Hearts, clearly looking to get on the front foot in these early stages. Plzeň have conceded just 1 goal in their 5 domestic games so far, so clearly their defence appears to be decent, but it's Hearts who have forced an early corner. It's Boateng in there, and on the right-hand side, Hearts will have the first corner kick of the game. Michael Stewart.
Yeah, very bright start. Plenty of bodies getting forward, and quick to the the breakdown. It's certainly been what I would imagine Stevie Naismith was looking and expecting and wanting from the side, to make sure that they're on that front foot.
George Grant, right-hand side, swings it into the penalty area. It's won by Frankie Kent. Actually, it was Kingsley who went up and won the header ultimately, but it came off, looked to come off a Plzeň head actually there, but that's what he was claiming for. The referee points for a goal kick, couple of minutes in, and it's Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, it looked as if it came off the back of the head there of a Plzeň defender, but yeah, a bright start. You can see the worth of Lawrence Shankland. It's not just his goals that have been vitally important to this group, and what Stephen Naismith has managed to do with Hearts to take him into Europe. It's his all-round gameplay there. It's going to be so important tonight if he's going to get Hearts up the pitch, because they are going to have to surrender possession. The home side are definitely going to put them under pressure, so to relieve that, you need that experience, that strength, just to link the game.
Plzeň have got a corner kick of their own up the other end. Eric Jurka playing it off a Hearts defender, and across comes Lukasz Kalvak, the home side's captain, the man who pulls the strings in there. He'll take the corner from the left-hand side. You can hear the home fans in good voice, and they'll be in better voice if they can turn this goalwards, but it's over the top. The header came in at the near post from the striker, Daniel Vashulin, who got goals winners actually in both legs in the previous round, but off target on that occasion. 0-0. Vashulin just off target with that effort. Will be a Hearts goal kick taken by Craig Gordon on his 23rd European appearance for the club. 86 all told. As Viktoria Plzeň come forward, but across comes Gerald Taylor to cut that one out, knocks it out of play. It will be a Viktoria Plzeň throw-in, left-hand side. Is it in any way bemusing or strange that Hearts have gone to that back five with the wing-backs, where Taylor and Penrice, when they operated in that, when they moved to that against Dundee, they were completely ineffective, having been really good in the opening league game against Rangers, Neil? As full-back.
I don't think it's... I think it's to get in an extra defender tonight. I know Plzeň will play with the two boys sitting in behind the main striker, and they're very dangerous also. The extra security on either side of the main centre-back, I think, is a decision that Stephen's made just to make it a little bit stiff on defence. Listen, changing formations through in the back here.
And it's lashed well wide there by Jirka.
Yeah, I was saying, look, changing formations sometimes is to try and employ a different game plan, and as we've already spoken about, it went horribly wrong against Dundee. But again, he's gone to three centre-backs tonight, and there's an example of one can go and engage from the three centre-backs, and you've still got the cover for the two centre-backs on one straight ball over the top. So although they didn't hit target there, the threat is to go in behind, but that will allow, if you're playing three centre-backs, one of them just to go in and engage. Maybe one of the number 10s, should they try and build up and drop into pockets of space.
Hearts trying to get themselves back up the park, but Viktoria Plzeň picking up possession themselves once more, come down the right-hand side. Hearts win it back, it's Boateng for Taylor, and forward. Coughed up possession once more, and Viktoria Plzeň can break down the left-hand side. It's with their left wing back, Milan Havel. Particular move breaks down, and Taylor's able to clear out of play. But after a bright couple of minutes when Hearts were doing the attacking, they've had more defending to do just in the last few minutes. And they've got more here as Vashulin comes across to the left-hand side, tries the little flick into the penalty area. It comes headed away by Kent, returned, and this time it might well fall for Viktoria Plzeň to get the shot away, but again it's Jirka who's picked up a good position, but he was offside, and it will be a free kick to Hearts inside their own penalty area. 6 minutes played, Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0.
I think that, you know, this is just a good example of where there's plenty of bodies back, the extra man that Neil's been talking about with the back three, and it pays off here, because you can see obviously it is offside in the end, but there's plenty of bodies across to fill the gaps. The key thing is, though, I get a sense at times when you have a system where you're not going to be dominating the ball and you're trying to make sure that you're defensively sound. The key is that when the bodies are back in there, they're actively doing something. They're not just standing in a space and looking for somebody else to do that. It happened on that occasion when Plzeň were attacking, but you want to make sure the communication's good, because sometimes you see that there's so many bodies around, there's a false sense of security and that somebody's doing something, but a lot of the times they can be standing around ball watching. But certainly defensively there, that worked.
Viktoria Plzeň trying to play out from the goal kick, quickly closed down. Vargas just knocking the ball out of play. One of only 3 players to have played now all 4 games for Hearts this season, which underlines this notion about Stephen Naismith rotating his squad a lot in these early parts. Also keep you up to date with Copenhagen against Kilmarnock out in the Danish capital, still 0-0 in the early stages of that one. They're just about 3 minutes behind the play here in Viktoria Plzeň against Hearts, which is 7.5 minutes in. It's a Hearts throw-in right-hand side. Taylor gets it back from Boateng. Good play from Taylor down that right-hand side, a bit more like we saw from that opening game against Rangers when he was ever so threatening down the right-hand side. Hearts have it. It's Boateng about 10 yards inside Viktoria Plzeň territory. Back the way it goes to Rowles in the halfway line. Infield to Kent. Returned after a poisoned toe that kept him out against Falkirk. played long, but out of play for a Plzeň throw-in deep in their own territory, about 10 yards away from their own corner flag.
I'm all for, sorry Neil, I was just going to say, I'm all for keeping possession, but when the opportunity is there to go and actually hit the front men, you need to do it. You know, Gerard Taylor did really well. He skipped past 2 or 3 people, but he looks to play the ball backward into the midfield when the space was there to go and hit the front man.
Here's Kopic's right-hand side, ball to the back post is nodded down. Craig Gordon though will get there before any Viktoria Plzeň players can do that, but it was dangerous on that right-hand side through Kopic. The wing-backs get very high, as Stephen Naismith was talking about, and there's good delivery, but Schultz just unable to make anything of that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. Particularly if you've got Vargas up there and Shankland just playing off him. If you can get it over the top, great. If you can drop it into Shankland's feet and link the game, even better. But another reason about why he is playing 3 centre-backs tonight is because he's playing Vargas up through the middle. He's got no natural width, so he's going to try and deploy Penrice really high, as you spoke about there, and Taylor on the other side. But the flip side of that is they're vulnerable at the back. Penrice was back there and actually in a good position, but he needs to stop the crosses coming in. That's clear that they're going to load the box, Plzeň. So first job as a wing back or a full back, if you're in that position, needs to get tighter, stop the cross coming into your box.
James Penrice making his European debut this evening, and he's got a throw in here about 15 yards inside his own half. 0-0 after almost 10 minutes in the Dusan Arena in Plzeň, home of the famous beer. And do imagine that the several hundred Hearts players, Hearts fans, I would suggest, probably more than the players have been
the players last night, Al.
Yeah, I'd like to think not.
Have you had one of those yourself? One of those famous beers, no?
No, I've not been to Plzeň, unfortunately, but I've had a Pilsner in my time. Here's Hearts coming forward down the right-hand side. Back it goes, though, to the goalkeeper, who is Marian Tourdon. He's the second choice keeper, with the first choice being out ill of late, although he is back on the bench. And it's a free kick given, and Viktoria Plzeň were potentially had an advantageous situation they could have gone on to exploit there, but the free kick nonetheless is going to be awarded to them about 25 yards from goal for a high boot from Cammy Devlin. Very central area, and this is an opportunity, Michael.
Well, I mean, look, you can see that he gets caught, the ball does drop in the box, but I don't think you saw too many Viktoria Plzeň players who were looking for the advantage, because the opportunity to get the strike away was very difficult. Caught with Cammy Devlin right in the middle of the goal. It's a great opportunity for them to have a strike on target, but the attack there shows perfectly what Neil was talking about before. You know, wing backs high up, and the 2 number 10s that they're playing, exploiting those gaps down the sides of the centre halves. Big gaps there that they're exploiting.
It's Kalvax is going to go for it. It's over the top, though, fortunately for Hearts. Not too far over the top, but Craig Gordon didn't look too troubled as he stepped to his left and saw it across.
Wasn't a bad effort. Craig Gordon offering the left side of his goal as he would look at it, trying to get it up and down. Gets a bit of shape on it, but you can see that the start off is way too high. But yeah, that's a definite cause for concern. If your wing backs are high, then you are really gambling with those 3 centre backs. They need to go in. If they're going in there, they need to win the header, because if they step in and offer up a side and lose the flick on, then they're in a bit of bother, Hearts.
That's where the likes of Boateng in the middle of the park is very important, because if he's, you know, tactically and positionally aware and in the right position, then it gives you that extra man a little bit more security.
Very strange throw in from Lawrence Shanklin has put Viktoria Plzeň on the attack here, poked goalwards, and eventually it's nodded over the top as Schultz tried to take advantage. It was George Grant, I think, who got back there to eventually head it behind, but it was a bizarre throw in midway inside the Viktoria Plzeň half, but it was all the way back directed at Kingsley, and Viktoria Plzeň pounced on the counter and almost took advantage.
Yeah, I mean, look, it wasn't a great throw, there's no doubt about it, but Stephen Kingsley lets it bounce. You know, and it's, from a defensive perspective, it's like cardinal sin. You can't let the ball bounce.
Corner kick comes in, it's Grant again who gets his head to the near post. Danger not clear as yet. Out on the right-hand side, Viktoria Plzeň continuing to build and looking for the opening goal. Back the way they go to Jurka. into the centre circle, and then it's a aimless ball forward and out for a throw in. Two Hearts down near their own corner flag. 13 minutes played, still goalless. St Pilsen.
Bit of a rugby kick to touch, push in and squeeze the game.
It's going to be a throw in. Two Hearts then to be taken by Gerald Taylor. Looking for options. Definitely got a good long throw, and he'll be able to get this up the park. Looks like he's stealing a few yards to boot. Allowed to do so as it goes down almost up to the halfway line. Won by Pilsen in the head, and then knocked out play almost by Plzeň, but Shanklin's managed to keep it in and then turns it down the right channel. One for Vargas to go and put pressure there on the defender, who does well to turn it back to his goalkeeper. And Viktoria Plzeň dealing with that particular danger as Samson Dewey gets out to the right-hand side, and Pilsen try to come forward once more.
That's poor from Hearts.
It's Jirka, right-hand side. That's a poor ball as well, thankfully for Hearts, and behind for a Hearts goal kick. Michael, what you...
Well, just that, in terms of the, Viktoria Plzeň working it from the left-hand side over to the right there, and the midfield three slow to shuffle across. Penrice isn't pushing up to go and engage the wide man either, but he ends up getting caught in a half position where he's not flat in the back five, and the ball's able to get played past him down the line because the midfielder's slow to shuffle across and close the line off. Penrice is not up on the wide man either, and all of a sudden you've got one of those number 10s again making that run in behind the wing back, and it's a simple ball down the line, and ultimately the ball from, I think it was Jirka, was poor, but they're into a dangerous area yet again without any real pressure.
That's a wee bit of what you're talking about, people taking responsibility, Michael. I mean, if you're a left centre back, if Kai rolls out on that left side, you're here saying to Penrice to engage.
Yep.
And get up high, and now cover the channel. If you don't, he stays in. He must stay in and not offer up the channel, because being indecisive and being out of position, going too late creates the channel. If he sits in, he's saying, well, you can walk onto me. So that's just taking responsibility and information from the guys behind. But you're right, it's too easy.
But also, Neil, the midfield have got, this is where the whole unit have got to be, communicating. And I would expect and hope that they've been working on that sort of thing. If the ball's getting worked across, what are the midfield doing? Are they expecting that the wing-back's the one that's going to engage? Or are the midfielders the one that are meant to be engaging? But you can't get caught in a half position like that, as Neil's describing, because that's what creates the gap to get, caught out.
It's Viktoria Plzeň in possession, just inside their own penalty area. 16 minutes played, no goals in either the Czech Republic or in Copenhagen between Kilmarnock and their Danish hosts. Viktoria Plzeň look keen to play out from the back, and Vargas's pace is causing them a few problems. The goalkeeper having to hurry there, manages to get it clear, and he goes long looking for Vashulin, but Hearts able to pick up possession through Taylor. But Vargas's alertness up front is certainly going to put that Plzeň back line under pressure when they are trying to play out from the back.
They just need to be careful though. They're aggressive. Cammy Devlin's up with Vargas, but what I'm seeing, because we've got the picture's coming in live where it's camera one, so it's above the halfway line and it's looking down. You can see a large section in the middle of the pitch. Boateng is sitting almost very, very deep, almost in front of the back three. It means that if Cammy Devlin presses and George Grant is pressing wide, that whole middle section of the pitch is wide open. If they're brave enough to play through Pilsen, they've got good players in attacking areas. They just have to be careful not to overcommit in the forward areas and actually leave big gaps. If they're going, they have to be compact. The midfield needs to get up, the defence needs to get up.
So a throw into Viktoria Plzeň to be taken by their left centre-back, Václav Jemelka. Forward it goes, prodded back forward by Frankie Kent onto the halfway line as Plzeň pick up in the middle of the park. Out to the left-hand side it comes now to Havel. Now back with Jemelka, keen to get up in support, but it's Cherv now taking over, one of the central midfielders. On to Kalvek, and out to the right-hand side they've shuffled it. There's Kopic, and then back with Kalvek. That's a good ball to the back post. Brilliant save from Craig Gordon as the stooping header came in from Havel, and Gordon just stuck out the left arm. First big save he's had to make. 18 minutes in, Plzeň 0, Hearts 0.
It's a massive save, it really is. Just gets Havel just gets around the blind side of Gerald Taylor, and he's able to get a header looking like it's going back across Craig Gordon. He gets a strong left wrist it, puts it away. I just wondered whether he was going to get flagged offside, but he's not. It's a huge save.
It's a really good stop, you know.
And here comes the corner. Big punch from Gordon to the edge of the box. Tried to poke it back in, but Hearts had a player in the way as Viktoria Plzeň tried to manufacture another opportunity, but they've been forced back the park there by Lawrence Shankland and co, and it's all the way back to the goalkeeper. But Craig Gordon just showing exactly what he's been brought into the Hearts side to do. Another big save. Just the type of save he's come up with.
Yeah, it was a very good effort as well, though, Al, because because of Havel's positioning, he's well beyond the back post, which means that, and he's going towards the byline as well. You don't actually realise that he's going to have enough ability or neck muscle, because he's stretching a bit to get it back across the goal. So Craig Gordon is right on his near post, and he sticks, as Mikey said, that left wrist out. Really good. But Taylor, there's the vulnerability. He's really, really strong going forward, but defensively he needs to switch on there. He just got caught napping. I think that's one of those horror moments, is when you've been done somewhere in the pitch, you're just holding your breath, hoping that someone's going to dig you out, and that man Craig Gordon does it again.
Here's Rowles forwards down the left-hand side. Not a great ball though, and Plzeň picking up and coming forward down their right channel. Lots of bodies forward in red, and there's a shot that's cleared off the line by George Grant. Gordon was beaten, I think, down to his right, but Grant was in a brilliant position. He just deepened and managed to block the shot that came in.
What's he doing there? What's he doing there, Mikey? I mean, in the first place, his instinct to drop there is incredible. But like the Falkirk goal, the second one at the weekend, that's a wee bit alarming for me, that there's boys just standing in a penalty spot not being picked up for cutbacks.
I mean, it works out in the end because George Grant gets himself back in.
He's actually cracking for Taylor.
But you're thinking to yourself, really, if the system's better placed, you would imagine somebody like George Grant would have been on Schultz, who's having the strike, and Gerard Taylor would be back in there. But look, it's very important he gets back in. Just before that, Hearts keep the ball for maybe like 7-8 passes, but they're not going anywhere. My concern is with the middle of that park. Grant, Boateng, Devlin, somebody needs to take responsibility to play the ball forward into those front men. Otherwise, they're just going to be starved of possession. There's all well and good trying to stretch the game side to side, by all means, but the reason you're doing that is so that there's going to be spaces that open up to slide the ball forward. They need to be braver in possession and try and get the ball forward. Otherwise, all you're doing is just giving Plzeň time to shuffle across and win the ball and counter on you.
Still goalless in Plzeň, still goalless in Copenhagen between the Danish side and Kilmarnock, as Cherv goes down and there's a yellow card being flashed in the way of a Hearts player. Didn't notice who made the challenge.
I'm not sure if it was Devlin or not.
It's a first yellow
snapping
card
challenge anyway
of the game. We're going to get a rerun here. It's Devlin coming in behind Lukáš Cherv and picking up the first yellow. Pavel Schultz was the player denied a couple of moments ago by George Grant's intervention, more or less on the line, with Craig Gordon seemingly beaten. So still 0-0. Hearts having to work hard though to keep it down at 0-0. Craig Gordon with a big save just a couple of minutes before that George Grant intervention. And Viktoria Plzeň definitely looking the more threatening of the two sides. They have possession about 10 yards inside their own half. It's Hranac, who really only established himself in the Plzeň side last season, but in doing so managed to also get us a call up for the national side, and he was involved in all 3 Euros games for the Czech Republic in the summer. Here are Viktoria Plzeň still in possession, building up to the halfway line.
Or as they like to be called, Czechia now.
Well, if you want to call them that,
go.
that's fine.
Well,
Czechia.
Yeah, and somebody tell me when that happened. It seemed to just almost transpire without anyone really noticing.
I mean, I think, unfortunately, BBC style is still to use Czech Republic, which I think is still acceptable. But, yeah, it kind of was brought in a few years ago, but...
Such an educational programme, Sportsline tonight, isn't it? Plzeň, Chechnya.
Not Chechnya. Viktoria Plzeň in possession over on the right-hand side. We've played a quarter of the game so far, still goalless. Viktoria Plzeň with the 2 big chances of the game, but both repelled by Hearts. As forward they come down the left-hand side, it's Havel who had one of those opportunities, unable to keep the ball in play. It's going to be a Hearts goal kick. This is actually the 15th consecutive season that Viktoria Plzeň have been involved in European football. To put that in a bit of context, it's the first ever time that Hearts have been involved for a 3rd season in a row. So, although they're possibly not household names for Scottish football fans, they are a European force of sorts. 4 of those seasons have been in the Champions League. And last season they got to the Conference League quarter-finals, beaten only by Fiorentina after extra time.
Which obviously brings huge finances, because we've talked about getting to the group stages of the Conference League and what that has done for Hearts and for Aberdeen in the last couple of years. When you're talking about 15 years in a row, Champions League, group stage football, latter stages of the Conference League as well, that's a lot of money. And it's then the ability to be able to invest in infrastructure and real strong foundations.
Forward they come, looking for the opening goal here. It's Chair from distance, but it's well over the top from the midfielder. And still we await the opening goal, likewise out in Copenhagen. 21 minutes gone there, and it's still goalless. 25 almost played in Plzeň between Viktoria and Hearts. And there's a long way to go, but a draw would be a fantastic result for Hearts to bring back to Tynecastle. But a lot of football to be played between now and the final whistle. A lot of defending, you would imagine, for Hearts to do.
They're finding a lot of gaps in the middle of the pitch. They're playing with almost like a little box at times, but there's so much freedom of movement. 2 boys in the main striker are taking off into higher positions, then the bottom 2 are rotating round. Cammy Devlin's been up in the game, Josh Grant's trying to get up in the game, Boateng's totally detached, so there's gaps appearing in that midfield area.
When Cherv had that strike, I think it was Kalvak, the captain, that made a run in behind, and it really wasn't a difficult ball. He could have just slipped it 10 yards down the side of the Hearts defence, and he would have been in the box with the ability to go and have a strike. Instead of Cherv having the strike from maybe 20 yards out there. It's just what Neil's talking about. They are finding gaps in that back line, even though obviously there's what you're looking at in terms of a back 5, plenty of bodies back there, but they're still finding a lot of space and gaps between the defenders.
As Kopit's right-hand side plays it into the feet of the tall striker Vashilin. He knocks it back the way and it's swept out to the left-hand side of the box. Here's Schultz now, who was denied by Grant. Back with the captain, Kavlak. And now Jirka out to Vashilin, who's picked up a position right-hand side of the penalty area. Jirka once more, tracked by Penrice. Down at the goal line, almost at the corner flag. It's good defending from Penrice. Back comes Devlin to help out, and the assistant pointed for a goal kick initially, and then looked to change his mind.
He's still pointing
at the corner. He's overruled him there.
Strange, because I would agree with you. He sort of stepped on at the park. He was pointing towards the by kick, but very quickly he
should be a goal kick.
That is a Hearts goal kick as well. It should be.
But he was pointing towards the corner in the end, but thankfully the referees made the right decision and given Hearts the by kick.
26.5 minutes gone, and it's still Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0 in the Europa League playoff first leg.
We're almost at half an hour into the game, and as much as we're talking about Plzeň dominating the ball, finding gaps, Craig Gordon's had that one big save. Other than that, there's not been too much that you would be overly concerned about. So for Stevie Naismith's perspective, when you're coming away from home in Europe that a side like Plzeň have got such a strong record at home that they're going to be dominating the ball for large chunks of the game. You just want to make sure though that you're a little bit more secure in the back. And even though they've found the gaps, they've not punished them yet, you don't want that trend to continue, because you would imagine that as the game wears on, that they're going to create better opportunities if you let that to fester much longer.
Yeah, they're keeping good possession. Here's Cherv out to the right-hand side for Kopitz. We've already seen his good delivery, but Jirka His control letting him down allows Rowles to just step in and knock the ball out of play over on the far side, which is the Plzeň right, about 25 yards from the corner flag. Throw in quickly taken, arguably a foul throw, but the referee allows play to continue. Cherv on to Kavlak at the edge of the penalty area. Right hand side now is Jirka, tries to get it across goal. Rowles was in the way, it's behind for a corner. 0-0 still, but Viktoria Plzeň building the pressure. Craig Gordon looking to organise inside that penalty area as Plzeň prepare to take the corner kick from the right hand side. Again, it will be Lukáš Kavlak, the 29-year-old captain of the Czech side. When it comes to the edge of the 6-yard box, it's headed away by a Hearts head. Vargas looked to try and get onto it. It was whipped away from him, but well over the top. And it'll be a Hearts goal kick. 29 minutes almost on the clock, and it remains Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0. Hearts goal kick upcoming. Haven't really been able to get into the game in an attacking sense as yet. Vargas and Shankland feeding off scraps just at the moment as Craig Gordon prepares to launch this goal kick long up towards the halfway line. Votain goes up and challenges, but it breaks the way of Cherv, and he plays it out to the left-hand side now for Havel. Havel forward, looking for Schultz. Kingsley directs it back to Craig Gordon, has to take it on the right foot and knocks it almost out of play directly, but it looks like it might have come off Schultz last there. Certainly Craig Gordon's claim.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
And ultimately the officials agreeing as well. It will be a Hearts throw-in to be taken by Gerald Taylor.
I'm not sure what he was thinking, because clearly, obviously, Craig Gordon was under serious pressure. He scooped it up in the air. I don't know what he was doing, looking to get any sort of contact on it.
Forward come Hearts. It's Devlin giving chase, beaten to it though by...
Does well, I think. Corner, yeah, he does well.
But he has one inside a corner, as Neil says. Cammy Devlin, tenacious as always in the middle of the park. He has picked up a yellow card, so we just have to keep a lid on things. Got a couple of goals in Europe last season against Rosenborg.
Yeah, good goals as well. I think because of his bite, he's a good player to have in the middle of the pitch, but he's not got the discipline to actually play a holding role, which is a perfect thing if you've got that tenacity, bite, aggression in your game and power to get around the pitch. You've just got to release him in there. He just broke from the midfield and won a really good corner for him, but then it's just wasted. I mean, this is what Mike is talking about, getting a few passes and then giving away possession, not doing anything with it, not maximising your opportunities. Really poor. Yeah,
Hearts played the short corner and George Grant trying to return pass. Got it all wrong, and Plzeň able to come forward, and Hearts a very rare threat up the other end of the park. It comes to nothing as Kingsley knocks it out of play. Still goalless in Copenhagen, 27 minutes in there. Looks like the Danes do most of the pressing in that one. Remember, we've got live online commentary of that one if you prefer to listen to that, but it's Plzeň against Hearts here as Doué comes forward. It's another shot from range. It's another shot from range that is well off target, and actually Hearts will be pretty happy if Viktoria Plzeň continue to try and test them for that kind of distance.
Yeah, it's a pretty poor attempt, to be honest, and you'd be quite happy if that's what's going to be happening in terms of Doué, that one of the defenders stepping forward and having a strike from that distance. But having said all that, it falls into the category for me of you still don't want to be gifting up that much space, because it might not be Doué the next time. It might be able to a midfielder that's stepping onto the game, and once you start getting in that area 25-30 yards for goal, if you've got somebody that's a technician, they can look to bounce balls off the front men, play little 1-2s, which are very difficult to defend against.
Here's Kingsley, about 10 yards inside the home side's half. Goes back to Rowles, who in turn goes all the way back to Craig Gordon at the edge of his penalty area.
See, this is what, for me, yes, Hearts have kept the ball here for 4 or 5 balls, but then it's played up the park, it's gifted, given away. Nobody's willing and capable of playing the ball forward at the moment. It's keeping possession, but in a negative fashion. It's going back the way.
Here's Havel, left-hand side, looking to create for the home side, still looking for the opening goal. Vasilian has come to the edge of the penalty area. He's fouled Kent there, I think, as it was Kingsley who got the clearance again from the edge of his penalty area. And Hearts have the free kick. Stephen Naismith, as always, animated at the edge of his technical area, and Hearts will welcome the free kick that was awarded to them on the edge of their own penalty area. 0-0.
Mikey, what you're talking about, just to illustrate to the listeners, is that if you're in the middle of the pitch and you can hit your strikers, we're probably going to be, 30 yards from goal, shaping up, so a bit of space in behind if you want to turn them, or Lawrence Shankland into feet. You then turn out under a little bit of pressure and you go all the way back to Craig Gordon. If he comes under pressure from the centre forward, he's launching it from his penalty box. The gaps in the middle of that pitch, if you don't hold possession, are huge, and you're on counter-attacks. Just what's happening right now.
Schultz leading that counter-attack, left-hand side, cuts in away from Kent, back came Taylor to help him out. Schultz still in possession, angle of the box, left-hand side, plays it infield to Calvac, just looks to lift it over the Hearts defence, but he's got too much on it and it drifts behind for a Hearts goal kick. We've got about 11.5 minutes left in the first periods, and although Hearts have certainly been on the back foot throughout, they'll be pleased enough at the scoreline, which reads Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0.
Well, they'll definitely be pleased with the scoreline, there's no question of that. And they'll also be pleased to a certain extent that Plzeň have not been able to really pepper the goal and test Craig Gordon too much. But I just, I'm always reluctant to get overly optimistic when you don't see enough patterns of play or controlled possession in an attacking sense.
Here come Viktoria Plzeň again. It's Jirka on the left-hand side, shown away from goal, but gets a pass off to Calvac. And now it's back with Schultz. Jirka once more left-hand side, crossing opportunity, sends it into the edge of the 6-yard box. The header comes in, that's not too far away, but it is wide of goal in the end. Viktoria Plzeň claiming for the corner as the header came in there from Havel once more with the header.
I don't know, what is he claiming, that it comes off of Kai Rolls, who's just behind him? I think he's trying to say it's a corner kick. I don't think it is. I think it just comes straight off him and goes wide, but not a bad ball in from Jirka, and plenty of bodies in the box for Plzeň.
I'll tell you what, Craig Gordon's the coolest guy in the stadium there, isn't he? I wasn't cool watching that little glance. It's one of those ones that so often finds the side netting.
Certainly wasn't far away from Milan Havel. But Hearts survive once more, 10 minutes till the interval. Goalless with Douay picking up, crossing the halfway line.
No. The referee's given a free kick and booked Vargas there. I mean, unless he's pulling the jersey and something that's not as obvious that you can see from distance with us. It looked as if he'd been able to hook his foot round and win possession here.
Got hands on the shoulder,
so minor though.
Yeah, it's just what I was looking and thinking. It's certainly not a yellow card.
The boy's just stopped because he's felt the hands on his back. Yeah. That's not a yellow card. Put a referee in that.
No chance of yellow, but I do think it was a free kick. When you see the replay, the referee's fair enough to be pulling up for a free kick, but I don't see that as a yellow.
Move down the left-hand side for Viktoria Plzeň, breaks down though, out of play for a Hearts throw-in. Hearts still looking for their first win of the young season, as we see the veteran Czech manager Miroslav Kobek, 72 in his second spell in charge of Viktoria Plzeň, led them to the title actually back in 14-15 in his first spell, reappointed last year. And although they're a club more than a century old, it really has been the last 10-15 years that has been the best period of their history, winning the title 6 times in that last 15 years or thereabouts. And currently you would say the third force, very much like Hearts, but much closer, it feels, to the big two, Slavia and Sparta, perhaps than Hearts are just at the moment. But it's Hearts coming forward to the edge of the penalty area. Vargas tries to swipe at goals, didn't get a clean connection because of a challenge that came in, and the keeper, who's been barely troubled, Marian Turdon, the Slovak, able to gather quite comfortably. 37 played, Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0.
It's good that from Lawrence Shankland. Long ball up, just a little chest down, half chance on the volley.
There's Douay, plays it square just outside his penalty area. It's a slack actually from Plzeň at the back, and it's gone out for a throw in to Hearts. That's just a little bit of encouragement for the visitors.
Very slack. because there was no pressure. It's an unforced error there from Dwayne.
Gerald Taylor been told he needs to get a move on by the referees, hardly delayed at all. But will be a potential long throw coming in here from Taylor with 7 minutes left in the first half. Right hand side, Taylor hurls it into the penalty area, gets good distance on it, it's flicked on at the near post, just won't fall for a Hearts body, and Pilsen come out to the left hand side, and then it's not cleared by Jamelka. Boateng's underneath it on the halfway line, helped forward once more down the right hand side by Taylor. Kent stayed up there, Grant nods it down at the edge of the box as Royals helping it into Vargas. Vargas tries to lift over the keeper, he was taken out after he did so. The ball was heading off target, but Vargas was cleaned out by the keeper. The referee saw nothing wrong with it, and the ball's out on the left-hand side. But that was certainly Hearts' best moment of this first period.
Very good. I wouldn't say that he gets wiped out for the keeper. And I've got to be honest, that was a huge chance. I think that's not as difficult as some may think, and he's missed the target. I don't know about you, Neil, but I think he's got to be.
I think he's got one eye on the goalkeeper. I think he's expecting to get smashed, and he didn't get cleaned out. Actually, it's one of those ones where it hops up and he's on the rise, he's off the floor, and he's trying to get it with the top of the foot and just lift it over. And whether he had the opportunity, he's onside. Whether he's the opportunity to slide it, which he doesn't, in my opinion, but I think just a nice little top of the foot, and he gets it wrong. I think he's just got a little eye on the goalkeeper. Yeah, it's a good chance,
Wiped out for the keeper, but I'm not sure there's even any contact, to be honest. They just sort of glide past
each
other.
He goes down as if he's wiped out, doesn't he? But very little contact, if any. But it was a good opportunity, that's for sure. Possession stats coming up there suggesting that Hearts have had 53% of the ball, which feels somewhat surprising. But here they come forward once more, looking to create, having had their best moment.
What I would say is that, forgetting the possession stat, because I'm not believing them, but as much as Viktoria Plzeň are the team that you would say are in the ascendancy, you expect that when they're at home. You're looking at this, and I'm saying to myself, there's nothing here to get overly concerned about and be too fearful of, especially if this game is in the balance going back to Tynecastle. You think to yourself, Hearts are capable, more than capable, of getting a favourable result over these two legs and potentially getting themselves in the Europa League. This side's no mugs, but certainly they are beatable.
Free kick to Hearts for the foul by Schultz on Devlin, midway inside the Viktoria Plzeň half. 0-0 still in Copenhagen between FC Copenhagen and Killie, with about 8 minutes left in the first period. 5 or less left to play in Pilsen, as Hearts have this free kick. The German referee just making sure Cammy Devlin doesn't need any treatment. He's fine to get up after just taking a clatter in the back there from Schultz. And an opportunity again here for Hearts to try and get the ball into the penalty area. Be clipped in here by George Grant. Into the box it comes, up goes Rowles. He's beaten to it, but it will be a Hearts corner kick as Vashilin goes back there to nod it behind.
There's more positivity for Hearts as it approaches half-time. Just the last couple of minutes where they've actually had a wee bit more pressure in Pilsen's defensive third, and they've got a corner here as well.
George Grant across at the right-hand side to take Hearts' third corner of the evening. Swings it in, the keeper comes and takes cleanly. Tourdon, and then bowls it out overarm, looking to start the counter, but Taylor across there to cut out the danger, and he'll come forward now down the left-hand side, just gets there and finds Royals. Royals still well advanced, sends the ball into the box, a poor ball, another easy take for Tourdon, and with just over 3 minutes left in the first half, it's Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0. Plzeň again looking to build from the back. It's Dwayne down the right-hand side though, going long eventually. As Jirka keeps it in, cuts it back to Vashilin, quickly closed down there by Kent, who was looking for an offside flag, didn't come, and it was an important interception in the end as Vashilin pulled the trigger. Plzeň take the throw on the right-hand side, but Hearts have it back through Boateng, back to Rowles, and now Boateng once more left-hand side.
That's much better. Actually willing to play the ball forward. They're going back in, and it's more difficult for Boateng to get it up the park. But that in the first instance. He gets the ball, looks forward, hits into the front man. I think he's either looking at the ref to say, look, I think it was another throw-in for Hearts, or he's maybe perhaps complaining at his front man who gives him back a ball which wasn't overly favourable for him, but much better play from the Hearts midfield, getting the ball forward. I mean, Lawrence Shankland and Vargas have been starved of any real quality.
It's going to be a free kick to Hearts as Plzeň was fouled there inside his own half. Picks himself up, and Hearts will take this free kick. Just under 2 minutes left in the first period. The free kick about 10 yards inside their own half to be taken by Grant. Looking forward at his options. Sends it up towards the edge of the penalty area. Hearts trying to get close to it, but it's nodded away. Boateng and then Taylor pick up. And now it's back with Grant, but 10 yards inside the Viktoria Plzeň half. Sends it back in. It's a good ball, and it's laid back to the edge of the box. There's a good strike, and it's straight at the keeper, unfortunately, from Lawrence Shankland. He got plenty behind it, struck it truly, but the goalkeeper saw it all the way. He's able to keep it out, and with a minute left to play in the first half, it's still Plzeň 0, Hearts 0.
Got it sweet, lovely little ball from George Grant. Just picked a run of Cammy Devlin. He just drifted in between the lines, and his little cushion touch, not for the first time tonight, was just met with Lawrence Shankland. Had it gone maybe a yard or two to the side towards a corner, it might have given the goalkeeper more trouble, but it was pretty safe. But a good solid connection. But again, it's that ball that we'll be speaking about tonight. Get it into the forward areas of the pitch. Don't turn, don't go sideways. Get it in the forward areas and get bodies round about Lawrence Shankland. He's trying to cut across it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's trying to cut across it towards a corner there. Just catches it just a little bit straight, but enough sting in the strike to make the goalkeeper parry.
Carmarthen are giving a pretty good account of themselves across in Copenhagen. Still 0-0 as they also approach half-time. Here come Hearts. Have had a better few minutes. It's another good effort from Shankland. Saved, and then Taylor on the follow-up. It's gone wide of goal. But with 1 minute of injury time to be played, we enter that just now. Hearts definitely having their best spell of the game.
Yeah, and they're creating better opportunities than Plzeň have in the previous 40 minutes or so. Turden, the goalkeeper, getting called into action again.
He just hit it straight again, Michael. He's tried to reverse that, and the keeper reacts really, really well.
It's quite unlucky, actually. There's two defenders who it just misses by millimetres. If either of them had got a nick, it could easily have been deflected past the keeper, as you say. Did react well to the shot eventually, but Shankland just twice in the last few moments having a sight of goal and pulling out decent saves from the keeper, albeit ones you would expect Marian Turdon to make. But definitely more encouragement for Hearts in the final few moments of this first period. Still goalless in Plzeň between Viktoria and Hearts, and the same is true between Copenhagen and Kilmarnock as they also approach half-time. We'll get a full account of that first period from Adam Binney and Cammy Bell at the interval, but just into the final few seconds of the first half in Plzeň, and it's the home side coming forward down the right-hand side. Vasilin looking to try and manufacture a crossing opportunity. Frankie Kemp is in his way, but that is all for the first period, and it's goalless at half-time in the Czech Republic. Viktoria Plzeň enjoying the lion's share of the attacking play, certainly at the outset of that first period, and it was a good Craig Gordon save after 18 minutes as Kalvak picked out Havel at the back post. His header was goal bound, but Gordon reacted well, stuck out the left arm and scooped it over the crossbar. Schultz had a shot blocked by Grant on the line shortly afterwards. That came in 20 minutes as Viktoria Plzeň really threatened the opening goal. Havel again then headed just wide before Hearts just began to come into it in the last few minutes of that first half. Vargas had a really good opportunity to lift the ball over the goalkeeper, but he just put his effort off target, and then just in the last couple of minutes, Lawrence Shankland twice bringing out saves from the goalkeeper Marian Turdon. Both were saved, but better from Hearts in those last few minutes, as I say. So at half-time, out in Plzeň, it's Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0.
Following Scotland's teams in Europe.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
He slides it home! The afternoon show has been bringing you the best entertainment from the Edinburgh festivals.
Comedian Craig Hill, you're wearing a pink kilt.
Well, I just thought it's radio. Put on your best clothes.
I'm doing a show talking about my thoughts and feelings. It wasn't for me.
There's comedy, theatre, books, music and more.
It's big country. Diana Vickers, how about that?
You're trying to bring me down.
Join Nicola Meehan for all the highlights from the Edinburgh festivals.
Chief Cameron Mickelson.
It's quite simple. A bam is sort of between a Raj and a roaster.
The afternoon show. Listen now on BBC Sounds.
So far, so good for Stephen Naismith's side. One shot on target to the home sides. 2 shots to the home sides, 1 on target. 53% possession for Hearts in that game. 3 corners, 4 for the home side. So very, very even in that match. So far, so good. And it's the same story, actually, in Copenhagen. Copenhagen 0, Kilmarnock 0. There's online commentary of that right now on the BBC website. They're into stoppage time. They're a couple of minutes behind, but Derek McInnes's side doing the job so far. He'll be delighted. We'll hear from Adam Binney and Cammy Bell on that one. Michael Stewart and Neil McCann alongside me in the studio. Hearts definitely grew into that game, Neil, didn't they? A few decent chances towards the end of that first half.
They did. Plzeň, I would say, have been more frequent into better areas. Let's say 25 yards out, getting in there, going in the channels, but without really being a real danger. Craig Gordon makes that one save that I remember, and then been wasteful. But on the other side, I think Hearts have been less frequent, but a lot more dangerous. You look at Shankland hitting the target a couple of times, Vargas with a one over the top. So I think all in all, Stephen Naismith will be quite pleased. No, Mike was saying that there's not much there to be really concerned about, and I agree with that in terms of the players and who they're up against. Plzeň are obviously a good side, sitting second there in the Czech league, but I would still have a wee bit of a concern about at times looking a wee bit pulled all over the place in the middle of the park. If they're going to go back to the goalkeeper, then the strikers need to get back in touch with the midfield and not leave those types of gaps, because they've scored 12 goals in their season this season, Kenny. Plzeň, they've only conceded 1, but the 12 goals would suggest that they're a dangerous side, and because I've been saying that they've been not really full of any threat when getting into good areas, you can't imagine that will continue. The same at Stephen Naismith will actually be quite pleased. I think the opposition manager and coaching staff will probably be not very happy with our team's performance, so you would imagine that they'll improve in the second half and be a wee bit more forceful in the final third. But all in all, I said before the game, if they can keep this tie alive both in Copenhagen and tonight here in Plzeň, then I think our sides will be really pleased with that.
Is there anything you would change tactically right now if you were Stephen Naismith?
Well, the good thing, listen, it's stuck and twist job. It's like if you take Vargas out and flatten your midfield to a 4, then you don't get switches. We're talking about Penrice as he stuck to the back 3, as Taylor out of position. That allows you out of possession just to be really rigid, a 5-4-1. But then Lawrence Shankland needs to get real good support, so you need energy from the middle of the pitch. But with Vargas, you've got the threat over the top, which Lawrence Shankland won't have. So it's a wee bit sticker twist. I would leave it right now. I would just want our midfield 3 to be more structured, because I think Cammy Devlin is taking off to try and get in contact. And you can see how they're doing it. They're flattening out almost to a front 3 with Shankland, Vargas and at times Cammy Devlin. That's leaving George Grant and Boateng, who's behind him, not even in a 2. If that happens, Kenny, not too tactical, but if you go a 3 up top and you're left with Cammy Devlin and Boateng, if they just flatten out and you can advance your wing backs, then that becomes a 3-4-3. It's better structure. But they're not doing that because George Grant's going and Boateng's sitting, which means it's very lopsided and there's space for you to play through. That's why Plzeň are coming into good areas. So just a little tweak of the midfield 3 and I think everything is okay.
So far so good for Stephen Naismith's side in the Europa League playoff. It's Conference League playoff action for Kilmarnock this evening. They are away at Copenhagen. Let's get a half-time report from our match commentator Adam Binney. In fact, we'll get that in just a couple of minutes' time. But we're seeing the pictures coming into the studio here, and they've done really well, you'd have to say. Derek McInnes and his players, they have played very well in that first half. Every time I've looked up, they don't seem to be too threatened by the Copenhagen team. We know they're missing a lot of players tonight. I heard a Danish reporter, speaking about the poor start to the season that Copenhagen have had. They're a great campaign in the Champions League last term. So Derek McInnes' side doing the job so far. It looks like they can take a positive result back to the return leg at Rugby Park next week, Michael. You know, and Derek McInnes has been speaking about this all week. We spoke about it before the programme. We spoke about I suppose there is a lot of pressure, isn't it, on the players, on him tonight to deliver a result, because there is so much financially at stake, not to mention group stage football for the fans to enjoy. A real treat for them if they can get the job done.
I wouldn't say there's a great deal of pressure, because I don't think there's a huge amount of expectation that Kilmarnock are over two legs going to be able to beat Copenhagen. But having said that, I think there should be, and I think there is, a great deal of excitement, because, you know, what a fantastic trip. Beautiful city to go and visit, and potentially try to get a result that keeps the tie alive for the second leg. So I don't think there's pressure in regards to expectation. I think there'll be pressure in terms of professional pride from the players. They want to put in a good performance. They want to put in a good showing of themselves, and Derek McInnes, obviously, you know, professional pride from his perspective, going up against, you know, a side that, as we've already spoken about, and Cammy was mentioning it before, Champions League football, a side that are very competitive. Okay, they've maybe not had the greatest of starts domestically this season, but this is a team that or a club, sorry, that is, you know, it's a big club. It's got a lot of financial power, clout, and for Kilmarnock, I wouldn't say there's pressure. I would say there's excitement and professional pride that if they can get this game back to Rugby Park and have it competitive, then we'll look forward to next week with even more excitement.
Cammy Bell has joined us in the studio. Cammy, goalless at half-time. Is that a fair reflection on the play that you've seen so far?
Yeah, definitely, Kenny. Kilmarnock have been absolutely in that game. They've posed a threat the full of the first half. Vassell's done really well, as he always does. Really physical presence, gets Kilmarnock up the pitch. Marley Watkins as well has been a threat. I've been a little bit disappointed with Copenhagen, but again, you've got to give credit to Kilmarnock. They've defended for long periods, very disciplined, as we know Derek McInnes' sides are. They've rode their luck a couple of times, but yeah, they're well within this tie, and there's a lot of belief. I would say the longer that half went on, the Kilmarnock players started to believe that they could do something special here tonight. I really did think that. They had a number of free kicks and corners that they put in the box. Brad Lyons had a good flick on, which Marley Watkins was at the back post. The keeper had a good save from that one. But yeah, they'll be fully in there at half-time, believing they can take a good result back to Rugby Park.
Talk to us about the shape, the tactics tonight. What's worked?
Yeah, listen, I think the discipline of the three at the back have been really solid. Joe Wright, Mayo's been fantastic for me. Really, really important headers when the balls have came in the box. Very strong and physical. What he's done really well as well is he's defended really high and aggressive. Halfway line will go all the way in with the striker and will win the ball. So he's been excellent. Again, the two fullbacks have done well. Matty Kennedy working all the way back the pitch. We know he's got that threat going forward, but he's got the discipline to do that, working back the pitch. And as I say, when you've got two powerhouses at the top end of the pitch, you get the ball forward to them, you play around them, and they get you up the pitch. And that's what I think Kilmarnock have been better this week than they did against Tromsø. They've had the two guys up there who are very physical and can hold the ball up against physical defenders, and it brings the whole team up. You're not defending for the whole half. So I think Watkins and Vassell are key to what's happened in that first half.
As Cammy was saying there, Neil, fantastic for Derek McInnes' side so far, reaching half-time goalless there. And we know the poor run of form that Copenhagen have been on. So the longer this stays like this, there just could be a bit of frustration from the home support there.
You would imagine there'd be a very large degree of frustration. They'll start. You're talking about pressure on Kilmarnock. The pressure will start to come on Copenhagen to actually go and get the goal. Certainly, then they can come to Scotland and try and protect. But as Cammy said, the one thing about Derek is he's pragmatic. He's not going to take risks if anything, he'll probably stiffen up even more in latter stages of the game, rather than the out ball is important, because you need to sting out the game in the early stages. You need to take the power away, and particularly this crowd. That's a brilliant stadium. It's a very old school feeling stadium. It's right on top of you, so you take the power out of that by actually, if you get the ball and you I didn't see much of the game, but if you're releasing it up there, Cammy, and it's sticking, then it's really good just to take the edge off the opposition. But the later it comes, they'll start to take more risks, which might mean, I don't know how you feel, Cammy, but whether he might actually stiffen it up further, because a 0-0 tonight is an unbelievably good result to take back to Rugby Park.
Yeah, and listen, I totally agree. The frustration was there. They got booed off the pitch at half time.
Right.
Yeah, so again, the frustration's there. You can feel it coming on. Even the players are getting frustrated. Long periods, Kilmarnock defending really, really well, rigidly at the back, as they do. And the players then playing longer balls up the pitch, which weren't working for Copenhagen. So Kilmarnock have done excellent in that first half, and it'll be more of the same for Derek. But I agree with Neil, the longer this game goes 0-0, Derek will probably stiffen up that defence, make sure they don't give anything away. But it's so important they've got a threat up top. It's so important they've got an out ball and they can get up the pitch, because if they keep deepening, we've seen it last week, the rode their luck a lot. The Tromsø hit the bar and they should have scored from 3 yards. That was because they were inviting so much pressure. They need that out ball and they need to get up the pitch.
Thanks to Cammy Bell. He is back on commentary duty with Adam Binney. That one's available online. The main commentary match tonight is Hearts' match away in the Czech Republic. Goal is there also at half-time. Hearts certainly had their chances in that first half, Neil. And we're speaking earlier on, it's a fantastic story for these fans, isn't it? We're seeing the pictures coming in. I know Brian McLaughlin, he's out there for us tonight, and he spoke to some of the Hearts fans earlier on, just loving this experience. It's tremendous, isn't it?
Well, Brian's loving the experience.
Well, of course, he wants as many trips as he can get. But you know what it's like? You go along to these trips, you see the guys. They're actually seeing some of the Kilmarnock fans there having a drink inside the stadium tonight. It's just a great experience for these fans. They don't get it too often.
It is. Pilsner. Is it good, Al? You said that you had a few Pilsners in your time.
Everyone's had a Pilsner.
I'm not sure I've had a Pilsner.
Of course you have.
You think so?
The Czech beer.
Well, I've never been there other than the football, and what you try to accuse the players of having a few Pilsners last night. But look, the European adventures are wonderful. Look at St Mirren, so many years they went without European football, and they got a taste of it, and they just loved the adventure. But when you're there and you get a bit of experience and a little bit of a taste for it, you do want more. You think of Hearts going to Florence and stuff like that. I mean, it's magical to get away and follow your team, but you don't want to just go over and just get punted out, you know. I think this game tonight and how it's panned out, I was expecting more from them. Looking at their form in the league, I was expecting more. Now, I'm looking at the pitch and it looks a wee bit cut up. They're obviously a lot more into their season than we are here in Scotland. I was wondering if it's kind of soft, because it looked like in Craig Gordon's goal it was cutting up a wee bit. What kind of temperature it is. Is that going to sap the energy of Hearts? Because this team are more into speed, are they going to come stronger in the second half? But while they're in it, we're just watching pictures of Liam Boyce, should they want to freshen up top. But while they're in it, Hearts, they need to keep it really, really disciplined, really, really concentrated, because if they are to qualify for the Europas, I mean, how good would that be? Not only for Hearts as a club and their supporters, obviously, but Scottish football as a whole, I think, would really benefit for having another one of their sides getting into the group stages.
No doubt at all about that. The teams are coming out then for the second half in Plzeň. They're slightly behind in Copenhagen, 3 or 4 minutes perhaps behind our main game here. But once again, a choice of listening on sports. And stay tuned to BBC Radio Scotland on digital, 810 medium wave, and BBC Scotland Extra on BBC Sounds for Viktoria Plzeň against Hearts. As I say, we also have commentary of FC Copenhagen against Kilmarnock in their Conference League playoff. That's online at bbc.co.uk/Sport Scotland. So thank you for joining us in our main commentary match this evening. It's very finely poised in that game out in the Czech Republic. Let's get back to our commentary team of Michael Stewart, of Neil McCann, and our match commentator, Alistair Lamont.
Thanks again, Kenny. Doesn't appear to be any changes being made at half-time from either side, as both sides do take their places back on the field of play. So it's as you were for Hearts and Viktoria Plzeň as we prepare to start the second half, and it's underway. Viktoria Plzeň getting us back going once again. I mentioned in the first period about the terrific home record that Viktoria Plzeň do have, particularly in Europe, and in the last, I think, 6 years or thereabouts, it's only Real Madrid, Barcelona, Inter Milan and Bayern Munich who have actually won in this stadium, so even a draw would be very creditable for Hearts if they could produce that. Win, so much the better. It's Viktoria Plzeň in possession at the start of this second period, looking to get the opening goal. Challenged there by Gerald Taylor over on the right hand side, deep inside his own half, just hacks it down the line, still in play. And Plzeň pick up once more. Forward comes Hranac at the back, and then left hand side they pick up once more. Havel, who had a couple of decent opportunities. It's dragged back to the edge of the penalty area, and the shot comes in again from distance. That one wasn't too far away from Kalvak, the captain. Craig Gordon getting down to his right hand side just to see it wide. 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's plenty of space for Kalvak to get the ball at his feet and get the strike away, but to be perfectly honest, from Hearts' perspective, you'd be quite comfortable and happy with a goalkeeper of the calibre of Craig Gordon having shots coming on from 25 yards out. And you know, we said in the first half, and you know, you're touching on the point there in terms of Viktoria Plzeň at home, strong record domestically as well. You know, they've not conceded at home in the league yet. They've only conceded one away from home. But I'm watching the first half, and Neil and I have both said it. I'm expecting more from them. They've flattered to deceive to a great extent in that final third, and this is just nonsense. Lawrence Shankland's got the ball, he's shielding the ball, and is it Jurka's just he's gone down as if he's been poleaxed, and
he's protecting his face.
The thing is, he didn't even touch his face. You know what I mean? He's protecting the ball, his arms up like you do when you're playing football. It's how you teach young kids to play football. Shield the ball, use your body strength, and he puts his arm up, and it's not even a foul. Collides with his chest, and Jurka's going down holding his face there, and they get the free kick. You don't want to see those things. But anyway, the point I was going back to is, you don't want to become too complacent, but equally you've got to take confidence from the fact here that yes, they've dominated the ball, but they're not looking as dangerous a force as what I was expecting.
Yeah, and you would hope they can build on the last 5-10 minutes of the first period, when they definitely came more into the game as an attacking force, perhaps getting that confidence from the fact that Viktoria Plzeň hadn't been as impressive as perhaps most people had expected. Perhaps even the Hearts players themselves had expected more. Here's Vargas into the penalty area, right hand side, picking up in the pass forward from Shankland. He's forced out of the penalty area, but he still has possession. Vargas then tries to fire it across goal. It's going all the way across, picked up by Penrice, and he's actually handled it and bringing it under control, and the momentum goes out of the attack. But it was a promising,
good ball.
Yeah, it was a good ball forward, good bit of forward play again, but Penrice just using the arm to control it, and it's a free kick to Viktoria Plzeň.
Just going on the foul that Shankland was awarded against him for the high arm. I think he's done that really well tonight. His shoulder, when it goes into him, he's so strong at linking the game. It's vital then that if he is getting it into him, you get bodies up round about him. Vargas is a good outball over the top, but his awareness of the game, Lawrence Shankland, is absolutely superb.
Hearts pick up in the middle of the park. Devlin back to Kingsley, and now Boateng forward.
Difference there, Boateng, that's it.
That's a lovely ball from Shankland. Vargas at the edge of the box, going to get the shot off here. He can, but as a challenge comes in, a last-ditch one from Jamelka, and it takes it away off target, but it just opened up there from Vargas after another wonderful ball. Reverse pass from Lawrence Shankland. Great awareness and intelligence to play the pass, but Vargas unable to capitalise.
It all comes from Boateng passing the ball forward. It's not difficult. It's a 10-yard forward pass into the feet of Shankland, who's got the ability to release Vargas, who's obviously making that run in behind. I've got to say that Vargas gets himself into some wonderful areas. It doesn't even take a deflection. He smashes it 20 yards over the bar. His final end product at times, you know, for somebody that gets into such good areas, you just want him to have a little bit better quality at times. But that comes from Boateng just passing the ball forward. Cammy Devlin, maybe 10 seconds before, picks the ball up, loads of space, turns back and passes it to the centre half, rather than looking to do something similar to what Boateng does. Simply try and get the ball into Shankland's feet in particular, because he's that one that's operating in that little bit of space. As a midfielder, that type of player is a dream to play with, because it's not difficult. You're only talking about 10-15 yards. Hit the guy's feet.
Still 0-0 then, 50 minutes played, but another element of positivity there for Hearts as they came forward. Vargas, as Michael said, unable to hit the target. It was a challenge coming in from Václav Jamelka, but he didn't even need to make any sort of contact with the effort to ensure it went wide and off target. But Shankland's link play there was superb. As Hearts knock it back to Craig Gordon. Clears first time, right-footed up towards the halfway line. Good connection up to Vargas, who this time takes a good first touch, but then runs it out of play with his second, and it's a throw into Viktoria Plzeň, left-hand side, quickly taken. They'll be desperate to get on the score sheet and take a lead to Tynecastle in a week's time. A game we have live on BBC Scotland Television.
I remember a couple of years ago when Hearts were obviously at this stage against Zurich, and quite similarly, thinking that I was looking for more from them. Game obviously went back to Tynecastle in the balance, and disappointing.
George Grant was sent off early in the second leg, wasn't he?
Disappointing to get a negative result there, but remember Liam Boyce had a wonderful opportunity just before half-time, and then George Grant giving away a penalty kick and getting sent off at the start of the second half, and it all just imploded. But that's where I'm looking here. I'm expecting more from Viktoria Plzeň, but Hearts are right in this tie.
Long throw in from Douay into the Hearts penalty area, won by Frankie Kent. Not further clear, but Plzeň will try and keep the pressure on. There's a Plzeň player down in the penalty area, rubbing his head. I think it's Vasilin, but play allowed to continue as Hearts eventually win possession back. Boateng just fires it out of play on the left-hand side, and it will be a throw into the home side. Vasilin picks himself back up. It's Frankie Kent who was climbing above Vasilin. There didn't seem to be anything wrong with the challenge, certainly. The referee deeming it a fair one as well. It will be another throw-in this near side, the right for Plzeň. Again, it's Frankie Kent who gets his head to the first ball, comes out of the penalty area, but it's picked up by Schultz into the penalty area. He comes past a couple of challenges, shot comes in, Craig Gordon with another good save, just stuck out the left boot to repel the effort from Schultz. Here comes Viktoria Plzeň again, looking for the opening goal. 53 played, still 0-0. That shot is blocked this time. Kopic trying his luck from the edge of the box as Schultz holds his head in his hands, denied a minute ago by Craig Gordon.
He just steps back. George Grant weaves his way into the box. It's far too easy. He steps by. I'm not sure who that is. It's Kingsley, isn't it? And there's a little nudge on Cherv from Boateng. I think that's what they were asking for, maybe a penalty, but wonderful effort from the attacking midfielder and a really good stop again from Craig Gordon's foot.
Viktoria Plzeň heartened by that come again. It's into the penalty area by Douay, but it's an easy take that time from Craig Gordon, who just a moment ago had to stick out the right boot to deny Schultz. Just going back to this, Frankie Kent's down holding his midriff at the moment, but he's made a couple of important headers at the start of the second half.
He does it brilliantly.
Well, I was going to say, it's so important that he has come back into the team for this game, particularly with the height and the aerial threat that Vasilin seems to pose.
Yep, and he's thankfully back up on his feet. He's been a big signing for Hearts because, you know, the season before, when they were trying to get into Europe, that was a gaping hole in the Hearts side. You know, a right-sided centre half. The Craig Halkett not able to get, you know, on the park consistently enough. John Suter had left to go to Rangers, and they were floundering around trying to find, you know, somebody to play in that position, and it really did cost them, really did. Whereas Frankie Kent has come in, and he's been, you know, he's been a big player, and none more so than that ability to just actually go and attack the ball. defensively, winning his headers. You wouldn't say he's an imposing centre-half physically.
Gets a lot of first contact.
But he does, yeah. And he seldom does get bullied, even though you wouldn't say he's a bustling centre-half. Positionally, he's very good, and aerially, as Neil's talking about, he wins a lot of those first balls.
Ball's back with Marian Turdon, the goalkeeper of Viktoria Plzeň. Slovakian plays out to the left-hand side to Jemelka. Still we await the opening goal in both ties involving Scottish sides this evening. FC Copenhagen 0, Kilmarnock 0, and here it's Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0. The ball comes into the Hearts area, and it's Vasilin with the header down, and Jirka did not get the connection he was looking for at all. There's Havel actually with the eventual effort from the left-hand side. It was a really good knockdown from Vasilin, but Havel just didn't get a hold of it.
No, he didn't, and actually I think it was Vasilin was just marginally offside, so had it actually ended up in the back of the net, I don't think it would have counted. But regardless, I've got to say, the more this game goes on, the less I'm impressed with Viktoria Plzeň's build-up play. It's becoming very sort of stilted, slow. They've not worked into those dangerous areas as much as they did in the opening half an hour. And for Hearts, they've got to take confidence from that. Not obviously overcommit, but equally take confidence from the fact that they're competing against a side here who, on the face of it, beforehand you would have said, with everything that we know in terms of home record, European exploits over the last few seasons, you would have expected would have been a very, very difficult tie. But Hearts are handling this pretty comfortably.
Yeah, they're acquitting themselves very well as Kilmarnock are out in Copenhagen. Hearts, as Michael was mentioning, fell at this stage a couple of seasons ago to FC Zurich, and failed at the Conference League playoff stage last season, going out to Pauk, having impressively beaten Rosenborg in the previous round. But this is another stern test for them, but one they're standing up to just at the moment, as Gordon plays a free kick from deep inside his own territory, long. It's dealt with initially, and Stephen Kingsley on the halfway line just rolls it all the way back to the edge of Craig Gordon's penalty area for the keeper to then launch forward once more in search of Vargas. It doesn't reach him though, comes to the halfway line. Boateng's first to it, now it's picked up by Devlin, and Grant, left hand side of the centre circle, moves away from a couple of challenges, but should say Michael's dismay goes back the way. Now it's out to the right hand side for Taylor. That's forward for Grant once more. He just won't get there in time, as well read by Hranach, but he's given it away. Grant now for Shanklin, tries to get the shot off. It's blocked inside the penalty area, and Viktoria Plzeň pick up and will try and move forward themselves now. Penrice going back, just put his arm on his opponent, but nothing given. It's out for a throw-in on the near side. I think Stephen Naismith impressed with what Lawrence Shank was trying to do there, but the shot was blocked as Viktoria Plzeň about to make a couple of changes. They've seen enough of the way the game's been going thus far, and they want to switch things up a bit, and that's more credit to Hearts in terms of the way they've been playing in the game. Kadu is one of the players who's going to come on, and also Bello is another player who's been introduced, and Havel and Jirka, the players to make way. So we'll see how that affects the Viktoria Plzeň lineup. But certainly they've got good quality on the bench. They've got players of the pedigree of Mate Vidra, who will be well known to most football fans. 44 Czech caps in his career, still just 32, having joined the club last season. But he's not been introduced as yet, as the home side look to build from the left-hand side into Vasilin. Now out to Jemelka, slides it forward for Bello, substitute, and he's won inside a corner.
Well, Stephen Kingsley had it covered in the end, but it's one of the first times in, the last well, certainly in the second half, in the last 10 minutes of the first, where somebody's been running in behind the Hearts defence. It's just dried up for them. This occasion, obviously, substitutions are made. Bello making that run in behind.
Kalvak to take the corner kick from the left-hand side. We've played an hour in Plzeň. 0-0 it stands, but the home side looking to change that right here. And the header comes in, but it's way over the top. And Hearts' clean sheet remains intact, as does Killies out in Copenhagen. But Plzeň rather huffing and puffing just at the moment, Neil.
Yeah, they are, but they've clearly decided that need to add a little bit of extra pace. I think from seeing Bello coming on there, he's one that wants to dart in behind, but they're trying to change maybe the flow of the game in their favour, because I feel that Hearts' belief is absolutely growing in this game. You can see that they're putting their foot in the ball a lot more. I think their structure through the middle of the pitch with Grant. Boateng, I think, is a little bit closer up in the game with Devlin and Grant, and it's certainly given them a stronger foothold to get into better areas, to get and service the front areas of the pitch. But yeah, listen, we're only just past the 60-minute mark here. There's a lot of football to be played, and I think Plzeň will come on strong in the latter stages. It's just whether Hearts can keep this concentration and keep this belief going.
Hearts free kick taken from the halfway line by Grant up to the edge of the penalty area, headed away initially. Boateng tries to return it. Plzeň get it out once more as Bello looking to try and make an impact. Looks like he's gone up pretty high alongside Vashulin in replacing Jurka there. Out for a throw into Hearts on the far side. Hearts right as Taylor comes forward to take this one. He'll launch, you would imagine he'll launch another one into the penalty area or thereabouts from this right hand side, about 30 yards away from the corner flag at the moment, and he comes. It's another long one looking for Kent. You just get a glance onto it, but again it won't quite fall for a Hearts player, and Cherv able to bring the ball clear from the penalty area up the left hand side. He comes. 62 minutes played. Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0. Hearts yet to make any changes. If you were looking to make a change for Hearts, Michael, at this stage, who would you be thinking? Is it a Liam Boyce required at this stage?
I'm just looking at Plzeň making this attack. Liam Boyce. I mean, Liam Boyce falls into the category of very similar to the likes that are already on the park.
Penrice has lost it inside the penalty area. It's,
for me personally, just to go back to this, a free kick given here. No, I'd be looking to bring on the likes of Danda or something like that, because I honestly believe that it's getting past the point where you need to be overly concerned about Plzeň. And I don't, I've said this on a number of occasions, without trying to be overly confident here, I think there's a result here for Hearts. And I'm not just talking about a draw. I genuinely think you could be winning this game. And somebody like Danda, he's got that ability to be able to open up a defence. Set pieces become very key as well. His delivery is a lot better than what they've got in the park at the moment. I'd be looking at potentially bringing on a Danda and just, like Neil's been talking about, the midfield dynamic in particular. I'd be looking at getting two anchoring and sitting in the middle of the park, Boateng with another right next to him and disciplined, and then having Danda and a Shankland up behind Vargas at the moment, or if you're looking to make other subs. But Danda would be the one personally at the moment I'd be looking to get on the park. I think he's started brightly for Hearts since he's come to the club, and I'd be getting him on the park.
The problem is, Michael, when you're saying that with two holding, because George Grant is playing that role just now, because Devlin hasn't got a discipline, he just wants to release all the time. I don't think he fancies Spittle in that area, and then what you got else that you can maybe throw in there. I mean, I'm looking at his subs to play in there. He's not got too many options to play a holding, so I think the Danda one might be one that comes in instead of maybe a Cammy Devlin, or a Spittle even on there.
I don't think there's any question. I mean, Cammy Devlin is playing that a little bit further forward, but the quality that Danda's got,
100%.
But you just got to be saying. I'm not convinced or totally sure what George Grant is as a midfielder, but I'd be saying to him, look, hold your position alongside Boateng.
As Kopitz into the area from the right-hand side, it's Kingsley who rises highest, just gets a glance on it. It's behind for a corner kick. 65 played in the Czech Republic. Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0. Same scoreline after an hour in Copenhagen between the Danes and Kilmarnock. As Hearts have a corner to defend here. Left-hand side. Giant Daniel Schulin looking to get on target again. He's already got 3 for the season. As it's swung in, Kingsley's head takes it away from Craig Gordon. Maybe a little bit of lack of communication, but the main thing is that the danger is clear for now. Out to this near side, the right for the Czechs. As across comes Samson Due, who also has a long throw on him. About 20 yards from the corner flag. Takes this one short though. Gets it back, right-hand side. Crossing opportunity here, and it comes to the penalty area. Kai Rowles is first to it, he heads away. And it's a good turn by Vargas. Now can Hearts get bodies forward in support? Boateng's closest to him, Shankland's trying to get there as well. It's still Vargas, surrounded by bodies in red, but he has squeezed it through to Shankland. Now it's Boateng inside the area, can he get the shot off? He can't, he just took too long to get out of his feet. Perhaps not entirely comfortable in that position, but it was a good counter-attack, a promising one for Hearts. It's still Hearts in possession, but they've gone back to the halfway line. Now it's Rowles.
That's one of those ones Al was speaking about. You just want Vargas to have more belief. 1v1, he's quick, he's direct, he's got 1v1 with a centre-back. He's looking for support. He gets it in later on in the form of Boateng and Shankland, but just go and take him on. Get him backing up into the 18-yard box. If he brings you down, it's a penalty. If you get a shot off and you get a corner, great, you're still up the pitch.
Their whole structure and fluency of their game,
it's gone.
It's absolutely gone. I mean, inside the first half an hour, you could see their patterns of play. You could see what they're trying to do. Since then, it's completely disintegrated. You know, if you were watching this game and scouting on Viktoria Plzeň, you would be almost at this point saying, I can't honestly tell you what their structure is or what it is they're trying to do. There doesn't seem to be any real fluency. Now, for Hearts, they've grown into this game. You know, if you're Stephen A. Smith, you'd just be saying to the players, a bit more belief, a wee bit more conviction in that final third. You know, when that ball came back out to Penrice, he just shifts it away to Cammy Devlin very quickly, who then goes back, you know, and it ends up being back in the back line. Instead of, you're in the final third, there's bodies up there, go and actually commit them and take them on. A wee bit more belief about Hearts, and I'm telling you, there is a victory here for them.
Frankie Kent stepping in there to stop the Nigerian James Bello in his tracks. He's had an excellent game, Frankie Kent, so far. As Plzeň again lose possession over on the right-hand side. It's Taylor picking up for Hearts, but they can't keep the ball either. But a quarter of the game to go, and Hearts still goalless out in Czech Republic. Kilmarnock likewise against Copenhagen. Should be a stoppage in play out there, as Viktoria Plzeň have it right-hand side. Due goes back in field to Hranac. Left-hand side now with Jamelka and the other substitute, Kadu. Hearts have won it back though. It's a bit slack play again, and then Jamelka forced to foul Devlin in the end, and he's got a yellow card. It's excellent play from the little Australian.
It was very good play, but it's just yet more evidence that they're gone. Jamelka there just pondering on the ball, not got any, you know, obvious passes on. Players out of possession are almost just going through the motions. Great little steal from Cammy Devlin, but this side in the first half an hour they were, you know, moving the ball around well without really hurting Hearts too much, but they got into some dangerous areas. I can't honestly, you know, remember, particularly in the second half, but also at the end of that first, I can't remember them getting into those dangerous areas. It's dried up for them.
George Grant with the free kick then, right-hand side into the penalty area, looking for Kingsley, doesn't quite reach him, but it will come to Rowles, left-hand side, tries to just hoist it back in, but he gets it all wrong, and it's going straight behind for a goal kick. We've played almost 70 minutes in Plzeň, and remains goalless.
Yeah, I think if you watch this back, Michael, in the first half, the 45 minutes, speaking about that, they were going to almost like a 3-up. One of those midfielders was stepping up, and they were going like a front three. They'd been so much more disciplined than that three midfielders now. Devlin, Boateng, and George Grant. You can see like Cammy Devlin just stepping up, but he's straight in. Then straight into the three, and then what Hearts are doing, they're really retracting their wing backs, and they're saying, right, we're going to sit as a 5. So it's Pilsen's wing backs that are getting on the ball, or if anything, the outside centre backs, and they're not good enough to cut through. So their structure is gone a little bit because Hearts have been a wee bit more disciplined.
Here they'll come, Pilsen looking to try and make inroads into that Hearts backline. Penright sticking to his task there though. Up against Schultz. It will be a corner to Pilsen, right hand side as they attack.
He's still a big threat though, that boy.
Yeah,
very good player.
He's looked as good as anyone, hasn't he? Corner kick right hand side then to be taken by Calvach. As Pilsen look for a lead to take to Gorgie next Thursday. Corner swung to the back post. It's won there by Hranach, but an easy take in the end for Craig Gordon, who will begin to now just take his time over situations like this, as Hearts, as much as Michael's saying, a victory is there for them. A draw would still be an excellent result.
Well, I mean, make no qualms, there's no qualms about it. A draw for Hearts is a wonderful result, because you're going back to Tynecastle, where you know the atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric, and the tie is there for Hearts.
Gerald Taylor's got a problem here. Maybe they're just stretching off a little bit of cramp in that right leg. He's back on his feet without the need for any treatment, as Pilsen plan another
going again.
Couple of changes. John Mosquera, the Colombian, is one of the players who's about to be introduced. It's going to be a double change though. Not just yet, as the play has resumed down the right hand side as Pilsen have it. It's picked up by the captain Calvach. Now out on the right hand side, a lovely ball in from Schultz, and then it just glanced on at the near post and then knocked behind by Kadu. It was a dangerous moment as Schultz threatened. But Hearts survive once more, still 0-0. It's got to go down as good defending, but a combination there at the front post of, I think it's Kent again who gets first connection, isn't it? Just does enough.
What a touch. What a touch, and it's the left wing back coming in at the back post, but again, it's Schultz that looks like the real danger man, whipping it in. Kingsley, was it? It was two Hearts players going for it. It was
Kent
really
got the
close.
touch. Kingsley was there as well.
But it was a very important touch across the front post.
Very much so, as they will now be able to make that change. Mate Vidra, who I mentioned earlier on, is going to come on for Daniel Vachulin, who scored the winner in both legs in the previous round, but hasn't really had a look at goal as much as he's been involved to an extent in the build-up play, and disappointing evening for him as he's replaced 73 minutes in by the 32-year-old former Burnley man, among others, Mate Vidra. And it's Koppitz who's been replaced by Mosquera. So 4 changes now made by Viktoria Plzeň. Hearts yet to make a change. You've got to imagine that Stephen Naismith is going to freshen things up at some stage soon, just to get a bit of fresh energy on there as his players take a quick water break. Kingsley looks like he'll be okay to continue. I think that might have been a slight tactical injury picked up there. A blow to the left bicep perhaps, but
I would have brought Spittle on for Devlin maybe, but and he is stripped.
Yeah, they are going to go to the bench now, aren't they? As Oyegoke
actually, yeah,
and Spittle prepare to come on. Stephen Naismith just offering a final few words of encouragement. And it's Gerald Taylor and George Grant, by the look of it, who are going to make way. Yeah, Grant to be replaced by Spittle. And Gerald Taylor, who was just feeling a touch of cramp just a moment ago, it appeared, will be replaced on the right flank by Daniel Oyegoke. good shift certainly put in by Taylor on that right-hand side. He gets the congratulations from the Hearts bench as he comes off. 15 to play then, plus stoppage time. Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0 out in Denmark. It's FC Copenhagen 0, Kilmarnock 0, 20 to go in that one. Just over a quarter of an hour, you'd imagine, including injury time, to be played in the Dusan Arena in Plzeň as Hearts close in on a highly impressive away victory. Their away form in Europe is not generally much to write home about in recent years. You have to go back to that victory over Basel many years ago for a really impressive one, albeit it was a victory, a couple of draws against Spurs and Liverpool in second legs when they ended up going out. But there's been a couple of poor ones as well in that intervening period when Hearts have been on their travels. Not so this evening so far, as they will feel they can take something from this game to take back to Tynecastle in a week's time, as Shanklin keeps it in down near the corner flag right hand side. Oyegoke will just let that go out of play. It's going to be a throw into Hearts about 30 yards from the corner flag on the right. Daniel Oyegoke, one of their summer signings from Brentford, to take it, and Hearts then subsequently win a free kick for a foul in Boateng by the debutant James Bellow. And Blair Spittle, well, we talked about Jan Dander's delivery. Blair Spittle's got a good delivery as well, Michael.
Well, no doubt about that. His delivery is very good.
Let's see what he can produce here from a decent area, about 30 yards from goal. It's actually a poor one. Poor one from Spittle.
That was your fault, Al.
Thanks. And now on the counter come Viktoria Plzeň down the right-hand side. It's Vidra trying to get it into the box. It'll come all the way to the edge of the penalty area, but back there was Devlin to get it clear. But Hearts almost gifting Viktoria Plzeň an opportunity there on the counter with a little bit of poor play. Still goalless then with 13 left to play. Plzeň have it in the centre circle. Calva still trying to orchestrate things, finds Cherv, his midfield partner, and then out to the right-hand side. It's way up joining in the attack there with Kadu, who switched to the right-hand side since the introduction of Mosquera. It's a neat interplay there. Calvi picks up, then there's a shooting opportunity and a brilliant challenge in there to deny Schultz.
Frankie Kent again.
Yeah, was it? It was looked goal-bound again from Schultz, about 15 yards from goal, and the challenge came in. Neil reckons it was Frankie Kent who just got in the way of the ball. I think it was actually Stephen Kingsley, more or less on the penalty spot, who directed it off target. That was certainly going to test Craig Gordon. Corner kick's quickly taken, right-hand side. Kalvak pulls it back, but Devlin's in the way. And he'll just get it to the left-hand side now for Vargas to dance between a couple of players. Good play from the Costa Rican, holds it up and plays it back to back to Kingsley. He was fouled in doing so, but Hearts still in possession and play allowed to continue. 78 played, Plzeň 0, Hearts 0, Copenhagen 0, Kilmarnock 0 out in Denmark. Two good score lines for the Scottish teams away from home in Europe, but a long way to go, and we'll see there's a VAR intervention for something out in Copenhagen. We'll try and keep half an eye on that as play continues in the Czech Republic. Liam Boyce is about to come on. It looks like it's for a potential
kick, is it?
Yeah, it's Watson is involved. Yeah. Actually, I'm assuming that's the Kilmarnock penalty area.
Looks a really high foot from the Copenhagen player, doesn't it? Maybe.
Referee coming on. Yeah, it's an Italian referee.
He's not given a penalty, so he does.
It's El Yurusi who's won it, in fact, for Copenhagen. So an opportunity for them to break the deadlock as Lawrence Shanklin is the player replaced by Liam Boyce for the closing 10 and a bit minutes. I mean, that's...
It's two players going for a high ball there,
tough
isn't it?
Tough ball, that one, isn't it?
Watson's just a fraction of a second late. on Elyounoussi.
Right, Shankland taking his time coming off, and on will come Liam Boyce. As Kilmarnock have a penalty to face Kieran O'Hara in the Kilmarnock goal. And will try and perform the heroics as the Hearts fans out in Pilsen cheer their side on, looking for a famous result. So Hearts coming forward down the right-hand side as Copenhagen prepared to take the penalty against Kilmarnock. Jamelka just taking a knock to the face there for Pilsen. Delay to the penalty in Denmark. Up steps the Copenhagen player, and he scored. Kilmarnock are a goal down. O'Hara guessed right away to his left-hand side, but Copenhagen have the advantage. Hard luck for Kilmarnock, who put so much into that first leg out in the Danish capital, but the home fans celebrate now. But in the Czech Republic, it's still Pilsen 0, Hearts 0. As Stephen Naismith looks on, his side have performed well, have come more and more into the game. As Craig Gordon has the ball in his possession inside the penalty area, kicks long. 9 minutes left in the Czech Republic. It's headed forward there by Devlin, picked up though in the midfield by Pilsen, and hammered forward, and one for Vidra there to chase the veteran striker up against Kent on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Kent holding him up. Vidra waits for options to arrive. Cherv is one of them. He just clips it towards the back post. Headed away there by Oyegoki. Quickly taken thrown on the left-hand side as Pilsen are in a hurry. They are desperate to take an advantage across the Tynecastle as Copenhagen threaten a second, and that's Elyounoussi turning a glorious chance over the crossbar out in Copenhagen as they almost made it 2-0, and he should well have done so. Still 0-0 between Pilsen and Hearts as Stephen Naismith looks to guide the Tynecastle side to a really impressive result out there against the current second place side in the Czech League after 5 games out there. Oyegoki with a throw in right-hand side here. Forward for Liam Boyce, just flicks it on to no one in particular other than the goalkeeper of Viktoria Plzeň, Marian Turdon.
That game over in Copenhagen, would have been a really tough couple of minutes for Kilmarnock. That is a horrible miss from Elyounoussi. That keeps Kilmarnock right in the tie.
Remember, there's commentary of the last few minutes of that one if you prefer to listen. 12 minutes to go online with us, with Adam Binney and Cammy Bell covering that one fully, just trying to keep you up to date as I can with it as we watch. Our full focus, or our main focus at least, is on Viktoria Plzeň against Hearts, where it's still goalless, with the home side in possession, left-hand side. Back with Jamelka. The changes for Viktoria Plzeň, you wouldn't say they've massively changed the pattern of play we've seen here. I mean, still they're having the better of the game probably, but no real threats as yet to Craig Gordon.
No, not for me. They've not really changed their structure too much and what they were trying to do. I just don't think they were getting the same joy. As Michael was pointing out, that their game plan, they looked as if they had gone getting a wee bit ragged, and that's purely down to the discipline of Hearts in this second half has been absolutely superb. And although they've made 1 or 2 changes themselves, their discipline and shape out of possession has been really, really good. So it's made Pilsen just struggle to create any real breakthroughs.
It is Viktoria Plzeň coming forward down the left-hand side just at the moment. Out for a throw-in, quickly taken by Jamelka. Viktoria Plzeň in a hurry.
Well, I've got to say, I'm very disappointed with Pilsen so far. They're not been particularly quick in possession. Neil made the point before about Hearts dropping into almost a flat back 5 at times. Pilsen have not been able to quicken their play to try to create gaps. We were finding it in the first half an hour when Hearts were, it seems like, almost trying to find their system.
Here's Vargas on the counter. He's in behind, left-hand side of the penalty area. Pilsen getting bodies back, couple of defenders there. It's played behind Boyce by Vargas, and then the challenge made by
Honestly, it's decisions he makes, Al, in the final third when he's in really good positions are poor at times. All he had to do is just steady himself and roll onto Liam Boyce's left foot there for a first-time shot.
Or going, like Neil, like you said before,
go commit
have a shot yourself. You know what I mean?
Well, here's a 1v1 again.
Go and take him on. Get a shot and goal.
Let's see what he does. Vargas up against Ratchko, but just runs into the defender. Well, marshalled certainly by the Czech player, but Vargas, it's one of these players who you look at him, he's got a lot of really good attributes, but it's ultimately his decision making as much as anything lets him down.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what his natural position is. It is it a centre forward? Is it a wide player? But he's quick and he makes really good runs, but he makes poor decisions.
Mosquera sweeps it into the penalty area, but it's too much on it, and Craig Gordon happily sees that behind for a goal kick. 5 minutes left, plus added on time in Plzeň. Viktoria Plzeň 0, Hearts 0. There's a yellow card here coming for, I think it's someone on the bench, is it? In Plzeň. Looks like it's, yeah, Miroslav Kobek, the 72-year-old coach, who's been shown the yellow here. Not happy about something, but mostly not happy, I would imagine, about the performance of his side as Malachi Boateng goes down.
It's been poor. You know, the point I was just making before is that as the game's evolved, they've not really been able to change things, or the biggest disappointment when you're looking at them is their game's been very disjointed. It's not had a great deal of speed in their passing. You know, when you're playing against a team that are set up difficult to break down, you've got to have pace in your build-up, and to be honest, as soon as Hearts have made it a little bit more difficult for them, they've struggled. It's become even more pedestrian, and they've looked very, very incapable of being able to break Hearts down.
Boateng receiving some treatment on the field of play, so there is going to be a good few minutes, you would imagine, added on at the end of this match. The Hearts have got 3.5 minutes of normal time to negotiate. 0-0 it stands as Boateng makes his way off the park just for the moment at least. No indication. Well, there is going to be, in fact, a couple of changes here as Jutara Oda prepares to come on, and also I think Macaulay Tate is stripped. He is indeed the young man on to make his first appearance of the season to replace Boateng, you would imagine, in the centre of the park. Another big moment for the 18-year-old. Certainly impressed last season in 14 appearances last season, and I know he's someone that Stephen Naismith believes is a real big future in the game. He's about to get a few minutes here on the European stage as Viktoria Plzeň pick up in the middle of the park and try and force it forward. Vidra is offside though. Good news for Hearts as the German officials stop them in their tracks.
It's funny because they've been talking about the lead up to this game, Plzeň head coach, players, talking about the intimidation factor they're going to get when they come to Tynecastle, the stadium. They don't really have an arena that creates that, so they're expecting the physicality tonight to be difficult to play against, and they were really searching for a big result just to take to Scotland because they believe it will be a difficult place to come. And I think tonight they've given themselves, if this is their best that they can offer, which I doubt very much, then I put Hearts favourites at Tynecastle next week.
It's Vargas who's going to be replaced by Oda for these final few minutes. Costa Rican, he's had opportunities. One in the first half where he lifted it over the goalkeeper but couldn't find the target, and he's got himself into good positions, but ultimately perhaps the final ball and final decision.
It's one of these things that you don't want to put too much coaching into people in the final third, because you want them to be a wee bit off the cuff. You want them a wee bit of a licence to go and thrill and just do something that's going to get you goals. But I think like players like Vargas, who continually maybe makes a wrong decision in the final third after getting put in really good positions by himself and by his teammates, I think you pull him aside and just say, right, here's a couple of structures for you. 1v1, you can't turn back. You've got to take them on, get shots off. You just do things and place little helpers for boys like that, just to make him make better decisions. Now, if he's doubled up, then he's clearly got his head up and try and find someone, because if he's doubled up, then someone must be spare, because he gets so much to offer this Hearts team. I think he's a real goal threat if he can just polish up that final third entries and just put a wee bit more gloss on his finishing touches.
Into the final minute, Macaulay Tate doesn't appear now to be coming on. He was fully stripped. I guess perhaps the We're wondering if Boateng would be able to continue. He has been able to, so Tate's still on the bench as Viktoria Plzeň come forward looking for an opening, but none appearing in that Hearts backline. Well organised in the second half. They've really limited Plzeň to efforts from outside the penalty area as Oyegoke gets it clear. We shall just see now 6 minutes added on at the end here between Viktoria Plzeň and Hearts. Mosquera's been penalised for his challenge, and it's another opportunity for Hearts just to run down the clock very slightly as Devlin was the man who went down under the challenge there of Mosquera. Not a great deal in it perhaps, but Mosquera just standing on the back of his heel. And the referee giving Hearts the free kick. Very welcome from Hearts in a Scottish perspective as they look to hold on to a goalless draw. Kilmarnock trailing by a 1-0 in the final few minutes out in Copenhagen. A penalty that went in about 10 minutes ago. Yellow card has been shown here to Lukáš Kalvák, the Viktoria Plzeň captain. Not entirely sure what for, but probably they're complaining about time wasting. As Craig Gordon takes the free kick down near the corner flag on the right hand side. It goes long, it's flicked on, thumped forward again by Jamelka. Jamelka looking for Bello, but knocked out of play on the halfway line. It's a throw into Viktoria Plzeň, which is definitely a performance you would feel that Hearts can build on, as they, albeit they will remain winless in their opening 4 games, but it definitely goes down as a positive result. A vast improvement, I would imagine, on the showing against Falkirk. Ball into the Hearts area. Mosquera trying to make something of it. Tracked there by Oyegoke, who's forced him away from goal. Forward come Plzeň once more, though, down near the corner flag. Oyegoke's there, so too is Cammy Devlin. And ultimately it's hacked forward by Boateng up towards Yutaro Oda, who's just trying to hold the ball up. It's knocked out of play there by Jamelka. Thought that should have been a Hearts throw-in, but the officials give it to Viktoria Plzeň. 2 minutes of added on time have been played. 6 altogether were added on. Here is Kadu on the right-hand side, firing it into the left angle of the box, but it'll fall kindly for Boateng, who just thumps it forward. Boyce won't get there, but it will fall there in the middle of the park for Hearts to begin to build. It's Spittle for Devlin, and now Rowell's out to the left-hand side for Penrice, just down in front of his manager, Stephen Naismith, still barking instructions in the final few minutes. It would be a really good result. I think we're all agreed to take back to Tynecastle, but Viktoria Plzeň would not be out of it by any means. Neil says this probably hasn't been the best of them. Ball's out of play again for a Plzeň throw-in, down in their own territory though, midway through the 6 minutes of added on time. The way to take the throw-in. That's another foul.
Yeah, that's the second one. It's
let that,
horrendous.
at least the second, but the referees let it go. Here's Kingsley out to the left-hand side now, followed by Spittle, but he's won the second ball, but breaks back to the goalkeeper. Tourdon looking to move on quickly. Down the left-hand side it goes. Viktoria Plzeň looking to try and create one more decent opportunity. Picked up by Cherv on the left-hand side. Forward now comes Jamelka from left centre-back. Finds his captain, Kalvák, out to the right-hand side for Doué, who's joining in the attack. Plzeň with just about everyone forward, looking for that winning goal on the night. He's back with Hranac, the centre-back, and teased into the area by Kadu. Schultz on the turn, tries to dig it over Craig Gordon, he does, but it's just gone wide and not behind by Oyegoke. Well, that was gorgeous from Schultz to get it over Craig Gordon, but just didn't quite get his angle right. Unfortunately for Hearts, it drifted wide, and Oyegoke just makes sure and puts it behind for a corner.
Well, I think everybody recognises that Schultz has been the most dangerous player for Viktoria Plzeň. I don't think he's trying to chip Craig Gordon. I think he's just dinking it to the back post area, but it ends up being so close to drifting in at the back post, and and given Viktoria Plzeň a one-goal lead.
5 minutes almost of stoppage time played. That was as close as Plzeň have come in the second half. Right-hand side, the cross is charged down. You can see how frustrated these Viktoria Plzeň players are that they haven't been able to establish a lead in this game, knowing how important that could be in the second leg when they visit Tynecastle. Long throw-in coming here from Dewey. That one's not a foul throw, but as it falls for a Hearts defender to just whack it clear out of play. We're in the final minute of stoppage time. It's Plzeň 0, Hearts 0. It's the home side pressing for a late winner. They won both legs of the previous round against Ukrainian opposition, but Hearts have proved difficult to break down. Here's the right-hand side across coming. It's a good ball in. Oh, it's gone in the last seconds of the game. Craig Gordon couldn't keep it out. It's in off the post at the back door. And it's Mosquera who celebrates in the dying seconds, the dying moments of the game. Hearts could not keep Viktoria Plzeň out any longer. And it's so disappointing. But it is going to end here. Viktoria Plzeň 1, Hearts 0.
What a ball it is. And it's come from a very, very deep position. Generally they've tried to work it, but they've struggled to break through. And this is what, 20 odd yards, they just whipped it in there, but it's really poor. I think it might be an own goal actually from Oyogi back at the back post, is it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's just really poorly
he's
dealt
trying
with.
to guide it. I mean, just go and judge it, just go and attack it. He almost waits on it coming. Just go and attack that, Michael, with your head, clear it. He's tried to be clever, hold the man off and try and guide it with his right thigh past the post. And what he's done, he's actually knocked it off the near post and it's rebounded past Craig Gordon and found the back corner. That is a horror mistake from the big centre-back who's playing now at right wing-back.
You know, you say that Hearts couldn't keep Plzeň out any longer. This is not as if Plzeň have been banging on the door and, you know, relentlessly putting pressure on Hearts and as if it's a barrage of opportunities. They've created next to nothing in the second half in particular. And yes, it's a wonderful ball into the box. But having said all that, Oyogoki is at the back post area. There isn't too many bodies in front of him that you could say
he's not
are blocking.
His vision,
no,
that coming,
he can see it coming all the way. He's just not dealt with it very well. It's a terrible goal to lose for Hearts.
Oh, it's devastating.
It really is. As the game comes to an end, just seconds after Viktoria Plzeň got that winning goal, and as the guys rightly say, it was an own goal ultimately from Daniel Oyogoki, guiding Kadu's cross past Craig Gordon via the post under pressure from John Mosquera, but it does go down as an own goal off the thigh of the new signing. Didn't deal with the cross at all well, and that is a sickening blow for Hearts in the closing seconds of a game in which they looked like they had earned a draw to take back to Tynecastle. It's still, the tie is by no means beyond them, but it is a defeat out in the Czech Republic when a draw had been within their grasp. They'd played well, particularly in the second half, having come into the game late on in the first period, and it looked like they'd really dealt with the Plzeň threat. There wasn't too much to trouble Craig Gordon until late on in that second period. Schultz chipping Craig Gordon just seconds before the winner went in. That one just drifted wide, but Oyogoki diverting the Kadu cross past Craig Gordon in off the upright, and that's why it finishes in the Czech Republic. Viktoria Plzeň 1, Hearts 0.
Following Scotland's teams in Europe.
Live on